This is the Thar Desert in western India, a hyper-arid landscape defined by extreme heat and endless stretches of wind-sculpted sand. In an environment this hostile, life depends on the Luni River, the only major integrated drainage system in the region. The Luni begins in the Aravalli mountain range and flows southwest for over 500 kilometers. But unlike most major rivers, it never reaches the ocean. It is a completely inland system, terminating in the hypersaline marshes of the Rann of Kutch. For centuries, the people of the Marwar region have revered this watercourse as a sacred lifeline, giving it the title Madhu Ganga, the Ganges of the desert. The Luni is a sensitive, closed-loop hydrology. It collects rare rainfall, charges the local aquifers, and sustains agriculture in the desert margins. It is the primary life support system for western Rajasthan. But today, near industrial hubs like the city of Balatada, the river surface tells a different story. The water is heavily discolored with acidic effluent, running thick with toxic waste that the river cannot absorb. This pollution comes from a massive regional boom in textile dyeing operations. Hundreds of factories discharge millions of liters of untreated chemical waste into the Luni every day to keep up with the global demand for cotton and synthetic fabrics. The impact is visible in the soil and the local health clinics. Toxic seepage has contaminated the village wells, and the high concentration of chemicals has rendered at least 400 hectares of surrounding farmland completely barren. To see what this modern industrial boom is replacing, we have to look past the surface contamination. We need to go below this toxic layer and read the river's deep history. 80 millennia of human survival are written into the vertical layers of this riverbed. This cross-section shows the thin, polluted modern layer at the top and the vast history buried beneath it. Let's drill down. We start at a depth of 1 to 2.5 meters. This is part of the Type II succession, a geological layer that takes us back into the mid to early Holocene. Archaeologists working here have found evidence of early farming communities dating back roughly 3,400 years. These were agropastoralists who lived along the river margins. They managed their crops and livestock according to the seasonal pulse of the river. Survival depended on adapting their behavior to the Luni's natural discharge and the arrival of the monsoon rains. Early farming in the Thar region worked within the river's existing hydrology. Success was found by timing harvests and grazing to the river's natural rhythm, rather than trying to redirect the system. But the record goes much deeper. We push the sample down to the 12-meter mark, entering the late Pleistocene. This layer is known as the Karna gravels, deposited approximately 80,000 years ago. This period, known as oxygen isotope stage 5A, was a wetter, more humid phase in the Thar Desert's history, driven by a much stronger Indian summer monsoon. During this time, the Luni was a high-energy, braided river system. It flowed with enough force to carry heavy gravels of quartz and rhyolite from the mountains, creating vast, stable floodplains. This consistent water supply supported a rich mosaic of grasslands and forests. The fossil record from these ancient gravels reveals an ecosystem populated by wild horses, water buffalo, and nilgai. Embedded in these deep gravels is the proof that ancient hominins utilized this wet corridor to thrive in what is now a hyper-arid desert. The tools they left behind at this depth represent a specialized prehistoric technology known as the Luni industry. Without access to high-quality flint, these humans used local volcanic rhyolite to create their toolkits, showing a sophisticated understanding of the local geology. They used prepared core techniques, carefully shaping a stone block so that a single strike would release a perfectly shaped thin flake. They processed these flakes into scrapers and sharp points. By using natural mastics, they hafted these points onto wooden handles, creating composite spears for hunting. The Luni industry is an example of human adaptation at its most efficient, engineering tools to fit the environment rather than forcing the environment to change. We pull back up through 80,000 years of sediment, leaving the prehistoric gravels behind and crashing back into the modern Anthropocene. The contrast is stark. The successful, deep-time adaptation of the past has been replaced by the rapid environmental damage of the modern dyeing boom. The geography that once protected early humans now works against the river. Because the Luni never reaches the ocean, it has no way to flush out modern industrial waste. The toxins stay right where they are dumped, accumulating in the basin. A desert life support system that supported human evolution for 80,000 years has been contaminated by industrial chemicals in less than a century. Because the system is closed, the only way to save it is to prevent toxins from ever entering the water. This realization has led to court-mandated shutdowns of non-compliant factories, making common effluent treatment plants, or CETPs, the absolute prerequisite for the river's survival. Healing the basin also requires long-term remediation, like planting salt-tolerant, desert-adapted flora to absorb pollutants from the soil, and shifting the regional economy toward dry industries like solar energy. When we zoom out to the scale of geological time, the picture changes. Below us is a tower of healthy sediment representing 80,000 years of balance. At the very top is a microscopic, razor-thin red line of toxic waste. The question is how the next layer will be written. Will this toxic ban mark the permanent end of the Luni River? Or will we change course so it remains just a brief, corrected anomaly in the history of the Maruganga?